So please help me welcome Liv up to the stage.
I hate the bio so much. It makes me sound so much more impressive than I actually am. I'm actually just a flock of birds in a human suit, basically. So, I want to thank all my other speakers. I want to thank the Social Justice Department at Stony Brook for inviting me to speak here. And like Taylor said previously, I want to thank all of you guys for being here, because disabled people get so sick of like shouting about their own problems to able-bodied people. We have to do the work, obviously, we have to advocate for ourselves, but it's so exhausting that having this whole full room of people who want to do it with us and listen to our narratives and have us tell you how to do it is like, this is so great, you guys are fucking amazing. This is so awesome. Thank you guys so much. Is going to be about something that maybe some able-bodied people are familiar with. I'm going to give you a small explanation. I'm going to talk a little bit about inspiration porn. Is anyone familiar with that expression? Okay, we got some nods. Some nods are happening, and I know my friends are in the front here like So inspiration porn is a phrase that was coined by an Australian disability activist named Stella Young, rest in power, who coined this term to talk about the way that able-bodied people get all of these like feelings about watching disabled people do like average, normal, stupid stuff that they do every day, and how it makes able-bodied people so excited and so happy and so feeling so good about their lives. Look at this amazing thing this person is doing. Bitch, I'm just on the train. You gotta calm down, like relax, okay? So obviously as social workers, you're taught a lot about appropriate language and appropriate, things that have negative connotations, and this is what you say to avoid making the other person feel bad. You aren't really taught as much about condescension and about how even the most well-meaning of able-bodied activists will make you feel like kind of ridiculous, not so much by devaluing what you do, but by kind of devaluing it by making it a huge deal, which is a contradiction in terms, but like, because we're so used to people saying these weird, positive, often uninvited and obtrusive things about our normal day-to-day activities, when we do something that is normal for able-bodied people, but like amazing for us, we can't even really get excited about it, because like we're so used to having to deal with this weird phenomenon of able-bodied people like crying in public when they see us. Like, for example, one of my other activist friends, also from Australia, she coined a phrase called the pat and run, which, when Taylor's freaking out in the back. So this is a phenomenon that every disabled person is familiar with on maybe like a weekly basis. And it's a phenomenon where you are out in the world doing whatever you're doing, grocery shopping or whatever the hell you're doing, and some stranger will come over to you, touch you without your consent, and tell you some variation of how like proud they are of you. And you don't know me, and it's Wednesday, and this is Walmart. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And then, rather than actually engage you in conversation like a human, they'll just walk away. So that's a pat and run. I didn't know that was what it was called, but as soon as I heard that phrase, I almost lost it, because that is something that we can all identify with. Now you have that information. Do not go up to disabled strangers in public and touch them without their permission. That includes touching any mobility devices that you may see, because touching somebody's wheelchair or their cane or whatever is like somebody grabbing you inappropriately. If you think that they might need assistance, ask them. If they say no, walk away. Leave them alone. I've had people follow me through the grocery store. Go away. I don't need your help. So this is something called the hero complex. We have this need to attribute heroic status to disabled people just for kind of doing like average, normal things, and that's kind of ridiculous. And Mostly what it does is it's a way of saying, wow, I'm so glad I'm not you. When you put this much, like, oh my God, that's amazing, on a disabled person just doing an average thing, you're showing them that you don't think that you could do it, and therefore you're separating yourself from them and from their experience. Is everybody following me on this? This is a little bit of a tough concept for everybody, guys, because you know a lot of people feel like, but I'm complimenting you. It's a compliment the same way that a catcall is a compliment, basically. So all my women, you know that catcalls aren't compliments. You know that sexual assault or harassment is not a compliment. It makes you feel like an object. So inspiration porn and heroicism make us feel like objects because it distills us down to things that we just want to be able to do, like other people, and just get on with our lives and just do whatever we're doing. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in this poem, which I wrote about public transit, which is hell. Really, really hell for disabled people. Here's the thing. Able-bodied people steal my joy. They take it for themselves even if they don't mean to. They concoct it in places where they think it should be and so make it harder for me to feel. The man who claps me on the back as I am walking up the Penn Station stairs and shouts, "I'm so proud of you," doesn't remind me of all the times I froze in terror on the steps of the elementary school under the harsh German accent of my physical therapist, and how it felt after 6 years to finally reach the second floor. Instead, he makes the eyes of all our fellow travelers stick to my skin, so I want to tear it off. When the Texan tourist on the subway literally starts crying, that actually happened, I swear to God, and warbles, "I'm in awe of you," I don't bother to tell her that I'm actually just late and need to get into this cab, please, and could she get out of my way? Because she won't understand that she's hurt me, or why. I see these people. I see how their smiles are held up by invisible strings, the knots of which tighten when they see me, how they elevate themselves and reduce my accomplishments to the way the mere sight of me makes them feel. I should not be out in their world, grocery shopping, or in the crush of Times Square. So that day when I'm on the subway for the first time, where I've made it down 4 flights of urine-slick stairs, shaken a plastic bag off the tip of my crutch, made it into the train in the 15 seconds those electronic doors stay open, without falling to my death in the gap between the car and the tracks, and no one will give me a seat. I feel the ripples of the movement sing through me. I am both the lyre and the new Orpheus pulling music out of the stinking air. People near me are trying not to make eye contact, and I want to shake them and say, I have laid unconscious as meat and been cut into by doctors to get here now. This thing you're so bored with, I never dreamed I'd be here. But I stop myself, even in my own head, because in these same places I've worked so hard to be invisible. I cannot reconcile wanting both of all these strangers, to demand both not to be spectacle and to be praised. Thanks. Answer questions, maybe? So I think that's a good idea. The previous speaker, Taylor Carmen, who actually has the same disability as me, cerebral palsy, and we share a lot of the same issues. This gentleman was talking about how what I'm speaking to is kind of the flip side of the issue of being on the airplane. One issue is talking about extreme ostracism and the absolute extreme moment where you are other to the point of we need to remove you from this space because your presence is undesirable or dangerous or inconvenient or whatever. And what I'm speaking about is we don't want you in our space in kind of an insidious kind of way, and so we're gonna compensate for that by making you, othering you in what we think is a positive way. So thank you for, yeah, that's really good. Thank you for helping me phrase that. Yeah, and it also does actually have to do with being a New Yorker. I don't know how it works for people who don't live in New York, but for me, when a patent run happens, I'm like, we're New Yorkers, we don't touch each other. We would rather smash our heads into that hole on the subway than actually grab the person next to us and not fall over. So when a person comes up to me and grabs my arm without asking me, I'm like, you know that's not how we do things here. Like, I know it's about me. You can say whatever you want, and you can say, well, that person was just trying to help you. The other thing that I want to speak to a little bit before I get out of here is Taylor spoke a little bit about communication and how some disabled people have better communication skills than other people. I would challenge you as social workers to not be afraid or disgusted by the clients that you work for who are more severely disabled in whatever way. I am not very severely disabled in the grand scheme of things. I have a tremendous amount of communication and I can advocate for myself. And that has put me in a lot of situations where I have never had to experience the fear of, we need to get you off this plane. Or that's just never happened to me because I'm not in a wheelchair. I'm very well spoken. Hi, how are you? How's everything going? So people feel very comfortable around me because I have a tremendous amount of what we call passing privilege, because I can move in their spaces, and to a great degree, people are like, oh, she's just like other people. Wow, that's awesome. So I've been in experiences where people, strangers, will ask me if I need assistance and not listen to me when I say, no, I'm totally fine, when there is very obviously a much more disabled, distressed person in the area who could probably really use their help, but the person is talking to themselves, or very obviously not clean, or whatever the hell, whatever the person is. And my brother has very, very, very severe autism, so he needs constant care. And I've dealt with this a lot. When you are around other disabled people who are more severely disabled than you, the instinct is kind of, I'm not like them. I'm different. No, I'm just like you. There's this instinct really to push yourself. What I would say to you as social workers, you, when working in disability justice, are working in the only minority that anyone can join at any time. And that was spoken to a little bit by Dean Montrose earlier, but she didn't really carry the ball all the way home. It's not an us versus them mentality. You literally, something could happen in your life and you could wake up and be me or a little bit more severe tomorrow. Anything could happen. You could catch pneumonia. Like, I don't know. It could be the strangest, weirdest coincidence, and you could wake up and be in a completely different body. So when we talk about accommodations, when we talk about better subway access and you know, better public transportation, this is not an accommodation for a small minority of people. This would benefit literally everyone. If there were working elevators on the subway, we would all be benefiting. So I would challenge you guys as social workers to, when you're talking to employers and other types of people of that sort, or even talking to your clients, because I guarantee you, your clients have internalized so much of the nasty stuff that's been said about them, and not even like the nasty stuff, but like when a well-meaning person goes, wow, I could never do what you do, or wow, you're so brave, or literally, this has been said to me, wow, I would kill myself if I had to be in a wheelchair. Well, thanks so much. Like
me
thanks.
too, Liv, that's not
I guess,
me too.
You know, like those kind of insidious, or like, oh, is this your brother when they're out with their boyfriend? Oh, is this your caretaker? Or even, what will this person be having in a restaurant? Recently, a friend of mine his friend that he was out eating with got asked by the waitress, will he be able to afford that? Because it was a premium item on the menu. And the woman just assumed this guy had no money, which was a brand new one for me. I've never encountered that like stereotype before. But yeah, so there's a lot of like really insidious, well-meaning kind of things that we have to do. It's not just like, we don't like you, because it's very insidious, and it's very almost positive and sweet and loving. And I would really challenge you as advocates and social workers to look at what you're saying, even if you're trying to say like a really positive, affirming thing. Really look at it from every angle and be like, what could that be interpreted as, even though I want to uplift this person. So that's what this piece is about, and that's what I'm challenging you guys to do. Just really treat us like human beings, warts and all. Feel free to not like us too, which is important. Like, you know, we're not all sweet and lovely, and we're not here to improve. You know, we're not here to make you feel better about yourselves. We're here to have sex and live and dance and work and do everything else. So that's my point, is that we are 360-degree people, and I want you guys to see all the different sides of us and all the different ways that we are told that we aren't valued, even in not negative ways, not ways that are perceived to be negative, but we are told 1,000 times a day that we are not valued. The entire presidential cabinet has come out in some speech or other and said that disabled people don't matter. Do you have any idea what the conversation is like at that point? And this is the point at which, you know, people are getting all riled up and, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. And all the disabled people I know are like, we can. Like, yeah, of course he did. So I'm just asking you as our allies to see us as complete, rounded human with flaws and with negative attributes, and to take us at our word and to take us exactly as we exist. So thank you guys so much.